we've got the team getting ready behind us. Let's see what they're doing. They can pick their loadouts. They're ready to go. And last time when we talked, the addition of customization of the characters. Yeah. So now we have gameplay here. You're coming in on some sort of what is this?
Riding in on a hovercraft.
Oh wow.
Now, were you guys always set on doing this on a giant ship, or is this we didn't do?
We talked about oil platform, but those have been done in probably before. Obviously, ships have been done. Yeah, we wanted to do it out at sea. Pacific Rim was pretty awesome.
I'm on that boat. Not many people are, but I'm on it.
Some new things we have as well. We have schematics in the map that you'll find. And then we have, and with the schematics, you find 3 pieces, and you can basically craft a new type of weapon or a new toy to play with. We've got quite a few. I think there's 7 different things or so that you can craft. One of which is, we have the Venom X is one of them, the weapon that returns from Nightfall, but we have 4 variations of that weapon. So there's a lightning version, a fire version, the corrosive one, and then there's one that actually shoots spore turrets, which we have a new species in this map called the Cedar. And the Cedar climbs on walls, and then he'll shoot a projectile out of his mouth, and where that projectile lands, it'll spawn like a weird alien turret that then shoots at the players. And those can be up in the rafters, they can be on walls.
How much flavor does this have? Is it something that's going to be more of a nuisance, or it's like we need to get rid of the Cedar?
You need to get rid of the Cedar because those turrets will destroy you.
Yeah. Okay.
So like you can focus on the turrets, but you really want to get rid of the Cedar.
Right.
And these, like we also, guys will hit them up soon, but we have like side rooms as well where you can find a lot of these kind of crafting pieces.
So again, the Twitter integration here, if you want to have your questions answered by Brian, please tweet at IGN or Call of Duty with the hashtag Devastation Day. First one comes from John. He asks, for me, Nightfall was a very long yet enjoyable experience. Will Mayday be as long as Nightfall?
It's on par. Mayday's about as long, especially if you do the side doors, where you'll get all the goodies. They're totally optional. I think the guys they'll do one here so we can check it out as we get a little further in. But there's 2 here at the beginning that you could actually do that will get you lots of extra goodies and crafting pieces and attachments.
So you can really take your time.
Yeah, you can.
So we got another question that comes from John. Is the Kraken that's in Mayday like the breeder from Nightfall? Is that as long as challenging to...
It's a different kind of challenge. The Kraken has, the Kraken will stomp onto the deck of the ship, and then those obviously if he hits you, it'll do a lot of damage to you. But it also has like a heat up phase where it'll heat up the deck of the ship. You have to get onto one of those like gooey sections of like that stuff, gooey muck so basically all the players have to like huddle together for a while, and then Kraken also has like an EMP type blast at the stream of his mouth that will like disable all of your kind of your D-pad combat resources for a short time if you're in line of sight. Yeah, so you got to go hide behind a crate or something, when he does that. It's a different kind of fight. Right. Breeder.
Now, are there any blind spots with like the little alien turret? Like, can I stand next to it and it won't hit me, or?
If you're in line of sight, it's going to shoot at you.
Then I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, and they don't kill you immediately. It's not nothing like it's not nearly as punishing as the breeder, but you do want to clear them out because they will accumulate, and once there's too many, then your attention's drawn.
Yep.
Another question from Twitter. This comes from Ryan. Can you give us any tips on how to kill the Kraken? Obviously, this is a long session, and we've got about 20 minutes or 15 minutes left to get there. I don't think they'll be able to make it, but for people who get this DLC on April 3rd, what's the best tip for the Kraken?
Oh, well, I would say teamwork. A couple guys need to focus fire on the Kraken. We have these turrets on the deck of the ship too that work pretty well, and they're like shock turrets. So if you remember, they're kind of like a remote turret. So you go up to the panel and you activate it, and then the turret's like a little ways from you, and they have like lightning ammo. So if you shoot the ground, it'll actually arc bolts of lightning that'll hit all of the cryptids in a certain radius of it. So that's good for clearing out a lot of the scouts and the hunters and things. And then focus fire. Have a couple guys focus fire on the Kraken whenever you can. And have the other teammates kind of protect your back, you know.
How much money is that turret going to cost me to use?
I don't recall. It's not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
It's not that much. 700,000, something like that.
Like
Yeah.
all the money you have.
No, not that bad.
Is it like a chip in thing? Or is
It's
it
not a
like-
chip in,
Okay,
but there are
good to
multiple
know.
ones, so a couple guys could be on those.
Okay.
Charlene asks, are there any guns that you can collect apart from the Venom X in Extinction in terms of those like bonus weapons?
Well, there are traps that you can craft. So we have a couple of, when I said the crafting things, the guys will probably get to one. Basically, you'll see a triangle appear at the bottom. Like you'll find a piece, and you'll get a crafting triangle appear next to your health bar. And as you fill the 3 pieces of that, you'll be able to craft things. So one of them is a Tesla trap. And there's 3 different versions of that, depending on which type of battery you find. It could be a really powerful Tesla trap or a weaker one. You put that on the ground, and it's going to zap everything that comes near it. If another player puts one on the ground, it'll create like an arcing fence, like an electric fence to keep them out. We also have a hypno trap that you can put down, and it will hypno a rhino or or anything, you know, any of the alien types. So
Is it just one alien
it
type
does
at a time?
2.
At a time.
It'll do 2, and then it'll be gone.
Wait, so we got a little glimpse of the Kraken there, right?
This is their, like, oh, he's fired off the, that's the special skill of the weapon specialist. So he has unlimited ammo for a while there, and you saw that effect on the screen. And they'll also get the outline on it as well.
Now the Kraken tentacle, it popped in. It's like,
It's spawning.
Spawning.
It's
Okay.
spawning creatures out of it.
So right now is it more time based, or it's like you gotta do a certain amount of damage in order to move on?
There's a challenge to get rid of it, to do enough damage to get rid of it before the actual hive is destroyed. It also helps you to focus fire on that because it's going to stop that spawning, which is like an extra amount of enemies than you'd normally have.
So it stops spawning when you hit it?
It stops. It's when you damage it enough so it goes away.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's like your first taste, and then you'll get all of his glory later on.
That's awesome.
Now, the Ripper is in play here. We see this again, the hybrid rifle. Do you find that the Ripper is pretty especially helpful in Extinction because of the kind of variety in range and close range?
Yeah, it's pretty helpful. I mean, you can go long range, short range, and just like an MP. I mean, it's totally helpful if you want to just run a gun and spray, leave it in as an SMG. But
So last time we were looking at point of contact, and there were specific areas we got to where it's like, okay, like we want to grab like the machine gun here, we want to like grab this certain weapon here. Is it kind of the same case with this? Or they're like, expert tips here, or they're just like, oh, this area, this gun does really, really well. Or
yeah, we've got a couple other cool crafting things that are actually really useful. So if like each player were to go out and really, you seek out the side doors and everything, we have like sticky flares that you can craft and get the schematics for, and those are pretty useful. Like especially save them up. There's I think there's 2 that you get, but you can throw it on the ground and everyone will be attracted to it, and then when the time's up, it'll explode and does massive damage. We have these like super powerful pipe bombs that also just give out all the creatures and do like massive radio damage that you can find. So there's some like new weapons you'll come in contact with, and the previous question about the Venom X. Like I said, we got 4 different versions of them. Each of them are like a different color of biolume. So depending on what biolume you find, you'll have one of those 4 types of that weapon, and they all act differently.
what would you say is the best one biolume that works on the Kraken? Is there a specific one that's like, oh, this one does pretty well, or
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe the lightning one. Yeah.
okay.
Another question from Twitter with regards to the Kraken. Simon asks, is it possible to defeat the Kraken in solo gameplay?
It's possible. It is possible.
It's just really difficult.
Our guys have done it. It's possible. It's the difficulties is
Oh, here's Tesla's
there you go.
schematic
It's got the
right
Tesla
there.
schematic. So when he finds the wire, the battery, and the God, I can't remember what the other piece is at the moment, but and depending on the battery he finds, it's going to be a different, like a more powerful or less powerful Tesla trap.
And those would just be like in small containers all around the area?
They're similar to they're in the same type of boxes as the pillage spots, which are fun. Yeah. And he's got the medic ring, so if you go inside that ring, you're going to get instantly healed. And they just turned on the weapon specialist class skill. So these are purchased with teeth, which you get from playing the game more. And obviously, we do some cool things. Like you bring a new player who's never escaped on any map. If you take him through, you get an extra 2.
Oh wow.
Right, so.
Oh, wow.
We also have, like I said, there's a bonus pool every week. You can earn up to 3, even if you're not very good. If you just get past that tentacle, that first tentacle, that's like our first blocker event, you'd earn extra keys there.
Now, say I accomplish and I beat, I beat all of this. Do I need to then use another tooth to repurchase?
No, they're not consumables. They're
Okay.
you own them forever. So.
Sweet.
Question from Gino via Twitter. Again, tweeted IGN or at Call of Duty with the hashtag Devastation Day to have your question read aloud. She asks, I've never played Extinction before on COD. Should I play DLC first, and should I play with friends or go it alone? What would you recommend?
I would recommend playing, probably starting with the on disc, the point of contact map. It's a little easier and there's less to understand.
Less mechanics,
it's
yeah.
a little more straightforward. When you jump in, I'd start there. And it's always best to play with friends, but you can play it solo.
Yeah, and that's actually what I think is most interesting about Extinction and how you guys have evolved it. I mean, when we first spoke about Extinction and the on-disc content, you guys said that it started as a fairly small team, but this, you got to add crafting mechanisms, you got all sorts of like unlocks and stuff. Like this isn't just some bonus mode. This is like a really fully fleshed out gameplay experience. Has the team grown quite a bit?
Team has grown. We had a pretty small team throughout the for the on disc content. We added we've added more artists. Now that we're not grinding away on all the single player campaign missions and all
Yeah.
other stuff, so we've added some artists that were available, and a handful of scripters have joined the team as well. It's paid off in dividends. We've been able to. This is our second DLC pack, and they're just getting bigger and better each time.
I think one of the things I love about the Alien modes is just the fact that it's like I'm a hardcore player myself, so previously it was more like survive the rounds. Here it's just like I get my friends and we're all tryhards and we're like, what's the best strategy? Like we gotta beat this. Like you do this, you take on that, and everyone has specific roles, and there's so many variations of strategies that go into it. I think that's what really keeps me coming back again and again as like a hardcore player.
We one of the things we had to do, because it's on a ship, we had the Trinity rocket, and that wouldn't be very useful in here. So he's got we modified a version of the Maws that's in Adrian's loadout here. He's going to fire it. Gets enough enemies, and it splits off and then homes. You didn't hit anyone there, but it'll split off, and as you level it up, it'll split off into more pieces, and they'll all home onto a target and do massive damage to it.
Oh wow, yeah, it's happening right there.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with Extinction, like it's a kind of like a stage-based mode where you actually are progressing as you're trying to drill your way. In this case, through big doors and hives on the ship.
One of the things from the last question there, one of the things we did add the previous, it's already in the game now, but we added casual mode and hardcore mode. And so for people that are totally new and aren't hardcore players, I would recommend, they can go solo and they can just play casual mode, point of contact. There's still a lot of cryptids enemies out to fight, but their health's a lot less. They do less damage, it's easier to get through. Probably start there. That'd be a good place to start.
And in terms of is it really just kind of the veracity of the aliens? Or is the volume?
We wanted to keep the volume high, to keep the action good. So it's really like their health, their damage, those types of things. Just some scalers. But hardcore mode is a completely different cycle table. So you're going to see hunters before, at point of contact before the chopper comes out. You're going to see more variety early on, and it's really hard. So.
I see they put the drill on a little platform right there.
Yeah, this particular hive is like kind of like a defend from afar, so you can't get down in there. So it's one guy's got to watch the window, and we've got a turret there.
They can still attack the drill, right?
Oh, they're
Just kind of
going
pop
in
in
and
and
attacking
attack
the
it, but then okay from a distance.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. That's awesome.
So you can't repair it.
Oh,
So
wow.
if it breaks, you're done?
Yeah, quite a few games where we're down to like 4 health. We're like,
Oh,
God.
man.
And even when we turn on God mode, the game ends for us as developers when the drill dies. So.
Another question from Twitter. Again, please tweet at IGN or at Call of Duty with the hashtag Devastation Day. This one comes from Ferndal. He asks if you could describe the new Extinction episode with one word, what would it be and why?
Epic.
Epic, awesome. Yeah, I don't know why.
Are there
Cracktacular? There's a Kraken in it.
Are there any new challenges?
There are new challenges. Some of them are like stay in a, well, I guess we had stay in a circle last time. We have ones that are, shoot them when they're over 65 feet away, and they'll highlight when they're that distance away.
Oh, okay.
And they'll come closer. We've got a handful of new challenges. I can't recall them all offhand, but yeah, we did spend some time updating the challenges.
Now, since it's a different environment, like what kind of opportunities did it afford you to kind of mess with the way people approach a particular challenge? Obviously, the tight quarters and pathways. Like, how much has that really evolved?
It's we wanted like more of a claustrophobic feeling on this one, and more walls because we added some like wall navigation to Mayday. So if you see the Cedar, I don't know if I've seen him yet. There he is. There's a Cedar shooting his turrets. But they do, they crawl around on they really use all of the surfaces in the ship. They'll crawl around the ceiling. You really have to look for them. They're not doing the normal kind of movement that you're used to, which is very cool. And we really wanted to have. There's one of the turrets. He's getting it before they're even shooting him.
Another question from Twitter. This one comes from Lewis. He asks, can you use the special abilities on Nightfall and Point of Contact?
You can.
Oh, so it's
So you could jump. Yeah, you could jump on to Point of Contact and see somebody with the engineer's stasis shield, and you're like, "What the heck is that?"
Oh, so it's not even.
And
limited.
you won't have it because
Wow.
you haven't purchased it with your teeth, and you'll be like, "Wow!" And you'll be able to reap the rewards of him being on your team. He might throw that around the drill, for instance, and keep them off of it.
That's awesome. So how far along are they looking at right now in terms of?
They're in the cargo area. And they're trying to speed run here to get as far as they can in our half hour. But yeah, they have to go if they get past this. What they'll find here is at this point, Archer's kind of locked himself up in a safe room. He's terrified of Cross because she's, like I said, she's like summoning all these creatures from the deep to come up and basically just attack the ship and take it out. So he's just petrified. He's locked up in a room, and you're trying to basically open up that room. So you have to go through a series of hive defenses before you can actually get into the room.
So now they made it through that last drill, and where do they go now? Do they go? Are they at?
They got to get their. They're going to get their drill. Mm-hmm. And I think
I was going to come out through this a little bit.
Yeah. So he's got it.
I'm so excited to play this.
Yeah, this looks like a lot
I
of
have so
fun.
much fun with this mode.
So another question from Twitter. This comes from Primus, and he asks, what are your future plans for Extinction? I mean, obviously 2 more drops. Like, are we just going to see things go crazy?
We got 2 more drops. You're going to continue to explore the storyline here. We also can announce we're working on a chaos mode, bringing back chaos mode. So if you're familiar with that, if you're not familiar with that, you can Google it. It's kind of like an infinite mode for Extinction.
Awesome. Awesome.
But yeah, two more episodes that are going to be even more epic, and really will continue the storyline. I encourage people to check out there's actually some cool fan vids as well where they've unlocked all the intel and kind of tell the story from there, from what they understand so far.
That's awesome. Well, this is just a little taste of what's coming with Devastation, which launches on April 3rd. Thank you, Brian, so much for being on the stream.